You have carefully drafted your last will and testament in your home country, ensuring that your spouse receives your entire estate and your global assets are distributed exactly according to your personal wishes. You relocate to Oslo, you purchase a beautiful family home, you build a lucrative executive career, and you naturally assume that your foreign will legally protects your family in the event of a tragedy. That assumption is not just fundamentally incorrect, it is a legal catastrophe waiting to happen that could eventually force your grieving spouse to sell the family home just to survive. Welcome to Norway Perspectives. I am Erik Christensen from the NLS Norway Relocation Group, and today we are exposing the Norwegian Forced Heirship Trap known under the Inheritance Act or Arveloven, and why your international estate planning is essentially useless the moment you become a resident of the Nordics. For international professionals arriving from common law jurisdictions like the United States or the United Kingdom, the concept of testamentary freedom is deeply ingrained. You believe that you have the absolute legal right to leave your money, your property and your assets to whomever you choose, whether that is your spouse, a charity or a distant relative. Norway operates under a completely different and fiercely restrictive civil law system designed specifically to protect bloodlines and direct descendants over the wishes of the deceased. When you move your primary residence to Norway, you become a legally domiciled in the country. Under Norwegian private international law, the succession of your entire global estate, with the possible exception of real estate physically located abroad, will be governed entirely by Norwegian inheritance laws, regardless of your citizenship and regardless of what your foreign will dictates. Here is exactly where the financial trap springs on unsuspecting expats. Under the Norwegian Arveloven, 2/3 of your entire estate is strictly legally reserved for your direct descendants, meaning your children. This is called a pliktdelsarv, or mandatory forced heirship. While this is currently capped at 15 times the national insurance basic amount, or G, value per child, which equates to roughly 1.8 million Norwegian kroner per child, it still represents a massive mandatory wealth transfer that you absolutely cannot override with a written will. If you try to write a will leaving 100% of your assets to your surviving spouse, a Norwegian court will simply strike it down and enforce the mandatory inheritance for your children. This creates an absolute nightmare for blended families or executives with the children from previous marriages, known in Norway as særkullsbarn. If you pass away, your surviving spouse does not automatically get to keep the house and the bank accounts. If you have children from a previous relationship, those children have an immediate, uncompromisable legal right to demand their inheritance right then and there. Your surviving spouse cannot retain the estate in an undivided form without the explicit written consent of those stepchildren. If the stepchildren demand their money and the majority of your wealth is tied up in the equity of your Norwegian real estate, your spouse will be legally forced to liquidate the property and sell the family home just to pay off your children. Even if you only have joint children with your current spouse, relying on the Norwegian safety net of an undivided estate, or uskiftet bo, is incredibly risky for a foreign national with complex global assets, because it severely restricts the surviving spouse's financial freedom, restricting their ability to gift property or manage the estate dynamically. Furthermore, the lack of a proper Norwegian will creates horrific cross-border legal conflicts where your home country and Norway fight over jurisdiction, resulting in years of frozen assets or exorbitant probate fees. Navigating international succession law requires aggressive, proactive planning. The moment you decide to purchase property or establish long-term residency in the Nordics. At NLS Norway Relocation Group, we ensure that your family and your legacy are fiercely protected against unforeseen legal tragedies. We do the work for you through our vetted network of top-notch legal and tax advisors in Norway to thoroughly review your international estate, draft highly specialized Norwegian wills that align safely with your global assets and establish legal frameworks that protect your surviving spouse from forced liquidation and catastrophic family disputes. Do not let a misunderstood legal code destroy the wealth you have spent a lifetime building. Protect your family and ensure your legacy is secure by visiting our website at nlsnorwayrelocation.no, nlsnorwayrelocation.no, to book a comprehensive strategy session today, and I will see you in the next episode.